Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to appreciate something that's often overlooked. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less. It's not about shouting louder, it's about speaking softly or sometimes not at all. Silence, when mastered, can be your most powerful asset in gaining the respect of others. Silence creates a sense of mystery because it draws people in, making them curious about what you're thinking or feeling. In a world where everyone is quick to share their opinions, constantly filling the air with noise, those who remain silent stand out. They command attention without even trying. There's an allure to someone who doesn't feel the need to speak at every opportunity. Silence suggests that you are confident enough to withhold your thoughts until the right moment, and this restraint often leads others to view you as more thoughtful, more intentional, and ultimately more respectable. Mystery is powerful. It's human nature to want to know the unknown, to unravel the puzzle. When you hold back, when you choose not to share everything you know or feel right away, people become more interested in you. Your silence creates questions in their minds. What is this person thinking? What do they know that I don't? This curiosity builds over time, and with it, so does their respect for you. People often respect what they cannot fully understand because it forces them to pay closer attention. When you are silent, you allow others the space to project their own interpretations onto you. They begin to wonder if your silence is because of wisdom, deep thought, or perhaps a strategic decision. The truth is, it doesn't matter what the actual reason is. What matters is how it makes others feel. Silence gives you a psychological edge. People naturally assume that if you're not speaking, you must have something significant to say when you do choose to speak. This anticipation elevates the value of your words before you've even said anything. Being silent also allows you to gather information and assess situations from a position of observation. Instead of reacting immediately, you give yourself the time to understand the dynamics of what's happening. This not only makes you more aware, but it also adds to the perception that you're in control. People respect those who seem to be aware and thoughtful, and silence is a tool that gives you the space to display that kind of mindfulness. In social and professional settings, silence can also make you appear more discerning. By not chiming in on every topic or conversation, you communicate that you're selective about when and why you speak. And this makes people feel that when you do speak, it must be important. They listen more closely, knowing you wouldn't waste words on trivial matters. The fewer words you use, the more value each word carries. And this perception can elevate you in the eyes of others, making them think of you as someone who is not just intelligent, but also wise. Moreover, silence has a way of building tension in conversations or interactions, but it's the kind of tension that leads to respect, not discomfort. People may feel a little uneasy when they don't know exactly what you're thinking, but that's because they are intrigued. They become more alert, more present, more engaged in trying to understand you. This heightened state of awareness often translates into admiration because it forces them to pay attention in ways they wouldn't if you were constantly filling the space with words. Ultimately, silence sends the message that you're not desperate for approval. It shows that you're confident enough in yourself to let others do the talking. It signals that you're secure in your position, whatever that may be. And in a world where so many people equate talking with influence, silence makes you seem like someone who operates on a different level, someone who doesn't need to shout to be heard. This quiet confidence is magnetic. It is this sense of mystery, this ability to keep others wondering and wanting more, that makes silence such a powerful tool in earning respect. Listening is one of the most undervalued skills, yet it is a powerful sign of wisdom. Many people think that wisdom is shown by how much they know or how much they speak. However, true wisdom often lies in understanding, not just in speaking. Listening is the gateway to understanding because it allows us to absorb, process, and reflect on what others have to say. When you truly listen, you signal to others that their thoughts and perspectives matter. You acknowledge that they have something of value to contribute, which immediately creates a connection built on respect. This is important because people are more willing to listen to you if they feel heard themselves. It's a mutual exchange of respect that begins with listening. A wise person knows that speaking is only part of the conversation, and the other part, often the more important part, is listening. One of the hallmarks of a good listener is patience. It takes patience to stay quiet and let others express themselves without interruption. This is where wisdom comes into play. A wise person knows that if they jump in too quickly with their thoughts, they might miss the full picture. By listening carefully and fully, they gather more information, gain deeper insight, and often uncover underlying emotions or thoughts that weren't obvious at first. Wisdom involves understanding not just what someone is saying, but also why they're saying it and how they feel about it. Listening allows you to pick up on those subtleties. Another aspect of listening that reflects wisdom is humility. To listen, you must acknowledge that you don't have all the answers. A person who thinks they know everything tends to talk more and listen less. But wisdom teaches us that no matter how much we know, there is always more to learn. When you listen, you open yourself to learning from others, which is a sign of intellectual humility. A wise person recognizes that every conversation has the potential to teach them something new, whether it's a new perspective, a valuable lesson, or a deeper understanding of another person. Listening also helps you develop empathy, which is a key component of wisdom. When you listen to someone, you put yourself in their shoes, trying to see the world from their perspective. This helps you build stronger relationships because people feel understood and valued when they're truly listened to. Empathy goes hand in hand with wisdom because it allows you to navigate complex human interactions with care, insight, and understanding. Furthermore, listening provides clarity. We live in a noisy world where everyone seems eager to voice their opinions, but few take the time to really listen. Wise individuals know that when they pause and listen, they gain clarity on the situation at hand. They avoid making rash decisions or forming premature opinions. By listening, they gather all the necessary information and can then make informed, thoughtful decisions. Wisdom is not just about having the right answers, it's about asking the right questions, and you can only ask good questions if you've first taken the time to listen. Listening also fosters trust. People naturally gravitate toward those who listen because it shows that they care. When you listen to someone, you're not just hearing their words, you're giving them your time, attention, and respect. This builds trust over time, which is crucial in any personal or professional relationship. A wise person understands that trust is not something that can be demanded, it is something that must be earned, and one of the best ways to earn it is by being a good listener. Ultimately, listening is a reflection of inner calm and confidence. It takes a level of self-assurance to sit back and let others speak without feeling the need to constantly interject your thoughts. A wise person knows that they don't need to prove their intelligence or worth through excessive talking. Instead, they listen, absorb, and only speak when they have something meaningful to add. Words are without a doubt one of the most powerful tools we have. They can inspire, uplift, teach, and motivate. But while words have power, silence has an impact that is often underestimated. In a world where we are constantly surrounded by noise, chatter, and conversation, silence stands out. It demands attention in a way that words cannot. Silence has a unique ability to command respect because it forces people to listen differently. When you remain silent in the right moments, it can amplify your presence. People become more aware of you, more interested in what you're thinking, and more focused on your eventual words. Silence is like the pause in music, the space that makes the notes resonate more profoundly. Without the silence between the notes, the music would be a constant stream of sound with no rhythm, no emphasis. In the same way, words without the occasional silence become noise. It's the silence that makes people truly hear what is said. When we think of silence, we often think of it as a void and absence of sound. But silence is not empty. It is full of possibilities. In silence, you give yourself time to reflect, to process, and to think before responding. This makes your eventual words more deliberate, more thoughtful. You choose your words carefully, ensuring they have meaning and purpose. And when people notice that you don't speak just to fill the air, they begin to pay more attention to what you say. Moreover, silence has an undeniable psychological effect. When someone remains quiet in a conversation, it can shift the dynamic. The speaker begins to wonder what the silent person is thinking. Are they agreeing, disagreeing, or simply waiting for the right moment to interject? Silence can create a tension that is both powerful and respectful. It shows that you are fully engaged in the conversation, that you're not rushing to respond, but are instead giving the discussion the attention it deserves. This patience and restraint elevate your position in the minds of others. Silence also provides an opportunity for deeper connection. In a conversation, silence allows space for others to speak, to express themselves fully without feeling interrupted or rushed. This act of listening, not just hearing words, but truly understanding them, creates a bond that is much stronger than if you were to dominate the conversation. People appreciate those who listen deeply, and in turn they respect them. Silence allows for this deeper form of listening and understanding. Finally, silence is impactful because it can disarm. In moments of conflict or tension, responding with silence can shift the energy. It can diffuse anger, create space for calmness, and give both parties time to cool down. It shows emotional control and maturity, signaling that you are not reactive but are thoughtful and composed. This kind of response is highly respected because it takes self-discipline and awareness to remain silent when emotions run high. Words are powerful, but silence has an impact that goes beyond the surface. It demands attention, fosters respect, and when used wisely can be the key to unlocking deeper connections and commanding influence. Silence builds emotional control because it allows us the time and space to process our emotions before reacting. In a world that constantly pushes us to respond immediately, whether it's to a heated argument, a difficult situation, or even daily challenges, the ability to pause and remain silent is a rare and valuable skill. When we give ourselves that moment of silence, we create an internal buffer between stimulus and response, which is where emotional control truly develops. Think about the last time you reacted impulsively, saying something you later regretted. Most of us have experienced that. In the heat of the moment, emotions can cloud judgment. Anger, frustration, or anxiety can drive us to react in ways that don't reflect our true intentions. But silence gives you a chance to step back from the immediate surge of emotions. It allows you to acknowledge what you're feeling without letting those feelings control your behavior. This isn't about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. In fact, silence helps you understand them more clearly. When you sit with silence, you allow yourself the opportunity to observe your emotions from a distance. You can ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What triggered this reaction? Is my response going to improve the situation? Instead of reacting instinctively, you respond thoughtfully with intention. This is emotional control in action. Moreover, silence provides clarity. In moments of strong emotion, the mind can be a whirlwind of thoughts and feelings. By staying silent, you can sort through that mental clutter and make sense of what's really going on. You gain a clearer perspective on the situation and are less likely to be swept away by your emotions. This clarity helps you make better decisions and respond more effectively, rather than being driven by impulse. Emotional control is also about self-mastery, and silence is a key tool in mastering yourself. When you resist the urge to immediately speak or act on your emotions, you're demonstrating restraint and discipline. You're not allowing external circumstances or internal emotions to dictate your behavior. Instead, you are choosing how to respond. This kind of self-control naturally commands respect from others, because it shows that you are in charge of your emotions, not the other way around. In addition, silence is a sign of strength, not weakness. In high-pressure situations, many people feel the need to fill the space with words, thinking that talking will help them regain control. But often the opposite is true. When you can remain silent, even in moments of tension or conflict, it shows that you are confident enough to hold your ground without needing to explain yourself or react defensively. This kind of composure not only helps you maintain control over your own emotions, but also often de-escalates the situation, encouraging others to mirror your calmness. Silence teaches patience. Emotional reactions are often quick and unrefined, but a response that comes after silence is measured and thoughtful. When you take a moment to pause and breathe, you demonstrate to yourself and others that you are not ruled by fleeting emotions. You have the patience to let your emotions settle before making a decision. This patience is crucial in building long-term emotional control. In essence, silence is a tool for reflection and self-regulation. By embracing silence in emotional moments, you give yourself the opportunity to stay calm, understand your emotions, and choose your response wisely. Over time, this practice strengthens your emotional control, enabling you to navigate even the most challenging situations with grace and composure. In a world that often values loud voices and constant activity, the power of restraint is frequently overlooked. But if we take a step back, we'll realize that the strongest presences in any room aren't necessarily those who speak the loudest or most frequently. In fact, it is often those who demonstrate restraint, who hold back, listen, and choose their moments to speak wisely that command the most respect and influence. Restraint is an art. It's the ability to control your impulses and recognize that not every thought or emotion needs to be expressed immediately. When you practice restraint, you send a clear message you are in control of yourself. And that's powerful. People instinctively respect those who have control over their emotions, their words, and their actions. It shows a level of maturity and discipline that is rare, and because it's rare, it stands out. Imagine you're in a meeting or a social setting where everyone is eager to share their thoughts. Those who speak freely without considering the weight of their words often lose the attention of others. On the other hand, when someone who has been silent finally speaks, the room goes quiet. People listen not because they're obligated to, but because that person has demonstrated the ability to wait for the right moment, to choose their words carefully. Their silence builds anticipation and gives their presence gravity. Restraint also allows you to observe more. When you're not constantly speaking, you can better read the room, assess people's body language, and understand the dynamics of a situation. This heightened awareness gives you an advantage. You become attuned to subtle shifts in the conversation, noticing details that others miss. In turn, this makes you more thoughtful and measured when you do decide to speak or act. The respect that follows is natural, as people begin to see you as someone who speaks with intention and acts with purpose. By exercising restraint, you communicate that you don't need to prove yourself through constant words or actions. Your confidence is implicit. This quiet confidence is magnetic. It tells people that you're secure in who you are, that you don't need validation from others to feel significant. In fact, the very act of withholding unnecessary speech or action is a testament to your self-assurance. This kind of restraint speaks volumes without uttering a word. People are drawn to that energy, to that level of inner calm and self-possession. They respect it because it's something they too want to achieve. In moments of high tension or conflict, restraint is even more powerful. Instead of reacting impulsively, those who practice restraint take a moment to breathe, to reflect, and to choose the best course of action. This kind of emotional discipline earns the respect of others because it shows maturity and control. In a heated argument, the person who can keep their composure is often the one who walks away with the most respect. Their restraint, their ability to remain calm and centered, is seen as a strength, and that strength makes their presence felt even more. When you restrain yourself, you're not disappearing from the moment, you're enhancing your presence. You're telling the world that you don't need to fill the space with unnecessary noise to matter. Your presence is stronger because it's intentional, it's thoughtful, and it's purposeful. People remember those who can command attention through quiet strength, and that strength is built through the consistent practice of restraint. In the end, restraint is a signal of mastery over yourself, your impulses, and your emotions. That mastery makes your presence powerful and undeniable, and that power commands respect without you ever having to demand it. Respect comes from confidence in your quiet strength, and there's a profound lesson in that. Too often, people believe that in order to be respected, they need to be the loudest voice in the room, the most dominant presence. They think that power is shown through volume, through constant assertion of opinions, and through always having something to say. But true respect, lasting respect, comes not from noise but from restraint. It comes from a deep sense of self-assurance that doesn't need to be broadcasted to be noticed. When you are confident in your quiet strength, you don't feel the need to fill every silence with words. You understand that silence itself can speak volumes. This kind of confidence isn't about shrinking or retreating, it's about knowing when to engage and when to hold back. It's about recognizing that your value isn't tied to how much you say or how often you speak. Instead, it's about letting your presence, your actions, and your selective words speak for themselves. When you practice this kind of restraint, people notice. They recognize that you have control, and control over yourself and your emotions earns respect. Quiet strength demonstrates a level of self-mastery that others naturally admire. When you speak only when necessary, people sense that you have considered your words, that you have something meaningful to contribute. They realize you are not driven by the need for constant validation or approval. This subtle confidence is powerful because it shows that you're secure in who you are. You don't need to prove your worth through endless conversation or exaggerated actions. In fact, those who are constantly trying to assert themselves often come across as insecure or unsure. They rely on external feedback to feel important. But when you are confident in your quiet strength, you project a sense of calm that others respect. Think of a leader or figure you deeply respect. Chances are they weren't the person always trying to grab attention. Instead, they were likely the one who listened intently, spoke with purpose, and acted decisively. That's because quiet strength is rooted in wisdom. It shows that you're thoughtful, that you've taken the time to understand a situation before you react. It conveys that you don't need to rush to judgment or make hasty decisions just to be seen as decisive. Instead, you're patient, allowing the right moment to emerge before you make your move. This kind of composure is rare, and it's why people naturally gravitate toward those who practice it. Confidence in quiet strength is also about humility. You're not concerned with showing off or being the center of attention. You recognize that true confidence doesn't need to be loud. It's like the strength of a mountain, immovable, steady, and towering not because it demands attention, but because it simply is. People respect that kind of inner fortitude because it's genuine. It's not put on for show, and it's not a facade. It's the kind of strength that comes from deep within, from knowing who you are and what you stand for. In a world where so many people feel the need to constantly assert their opinions and make noise, quiet strength stands out. It commands attention not through volume but through presence. And when others see that you are confident in your ability to be silent, to listen, to observe, and to act only when necessary, they begin to trust your judgment. They start to see you as a person of substance. Silence is more than just the absence of words. It is a powerful tool that communicates self-discipline. When a person chooses to remain silent, especially in situations where emotions run high or where there is pressure to speak, it reveals a level of control that others can't help but respect. In a world where many people react impulsively and often speak without thinking, silence stands out as a sign of maturity and thoughtfulness. Self-discipline is about having the ability to control one's impulses, emotions, and actions. It's about knowing when to act and when to refrain. Silence is a reflection of this restraint. Think about the moments when you're provoked or challenged. The natural human instinct is to defend, to react, to speak up immediately. But responding impulsively often leads to saying things that are regretted later or making a situation worse. On the other hand, when you practice silence in such moments, you demonstrate the ability to control your emotions, to think before reacting. This is what true self-discipline looks like.